Today in the show we have Tether versus MiCA in Europe, Sony Bank embracing web3, Pyxtrial foreshadowing on-chain oversight, and much more. I'm your host, Mauricio Magaldi, and this is BlockDrops, your weekly digest on blockchain for business. These news are not a form of endorsement, sponsorship, or encouragement for consumption and are meant for educational purposes only. In the first drop today, we're going to comment on a recent change in metrics on stablecoins that are apparently happening because of the introduction of the new European Union regulation MiCA or MiCA, markets in crypto assets, as it comes into effect. This regulation doesn't necessarily introduce new regulation for stablecoins, but it makes it clear how stablecoins are within the remit of the Electronic Money Directive, or EMD, which is a pre-existing set of regulations that was established in the 2000s. In order to comply with MiCA, if you're a stablecoin issuer, you have to get licenses that play under that directive, namely the Electronic Money Institution license, or you need to meet the equivalent requirements for those licenses to operate as a stablecoin issuer in Europe. This is not exactly new regulation, but it gives clarity to crypto, as most crypto builders are asking for in other jurisdictions. MiCA help a lot in terms of making it clear what it is that you as a builder need to comply with if you want to operate in that particular jurisdiction. So some stablecoin issuers have taken a step forward towards that clarity, namely Circle, the issuer of USDC and EURC, has obtained license for EMI in France. I think we talked about that in a previous episode, but there are other stable coins that have a license. That includes Monerium, which issues EURE, EUROE, and Gemini. Gemini issues GUSD as a licensed European Union issuer. Under the new regulation, though, people are starting to step away from EURT, which is Tether's Euro-based stablecoin, Euro-pegged stablecoin, which dropped its market cap in 6.7%, a significant amount because it's a small market, and dropped total market capitalization to 31.1 million. It was flipped by Circle's European denominated stablecoin EURC that gained 12% in the same period and reached a market cap of 33 million equivalent. So that is a flipping between EURC and EURT. Also, other Euro stablecoins have seen increase. VEuro increased to 2.7 million and 6.3%. Arise's euro jumped 23% in total, and Euro 3 recorded a gain of 10%. So it's a lot happening, and that means that if you are a stablecoin issuer, it seems that now having that basic license framework supporting you in Europe, you get a competitive advantage over your non-compliant competitors. Now, the experts are discussing whether that is something that will push people away from Tether in the longer term, meaning that they will stay in Europe and they'll continue to operate with licensed stablecoins. And they're also discouraging people trying to move their business or their holdings away from Europe just to stay within Tether or the Tether ecosystem in avoiding the regulations' wrath. Reason being is that regulatory arbitrage will start to reduce. Regulatory arbitrage is when users or builders change jurisdictions to a quote-unquote friendlier jurisdiction, and they can continue to do the things they did the previous way while circumventing new and upcoming regulation. So if you're in Europe and you're a stablecoin issuer, you're moving somewhere else just to not be there under that regulatory regime, which will gradually reduce because countries like to operate with standards. And this seems that MiCA, as with many things Europe has done in the past, will probably be setting the standard for stablecoin regulation as it comes forward. In the second drop today, we cover a new kind of late entry into the world of NFTs from Sony Bank in Japan. So Sony Bank has been doing quite a lot in the space, and this new marketplace that they introduced within their Connect app for users is just the last chapter in Sony Bank embracing web3. We've seen Sony doing green finance with the issuance of security tokens in the securitized blockchain. They use a private version of that. They issued about $1 million in funding for that, and they're also trying stable coins on Polygon using the Japan's regulatory regime. They also, through a subsidiary arm, bought Amber Japan, which is a cryptocurrency exchange that they rebranded last month as S Blocks. And they're using this new NFT app, which leverages the Sony Group, the wider Sony Group NFT marketplace, which is built on Polygon. So it is a public blockchain. This responds to Sony Bank's customer base desire to be more and more present in Web3 through a trusted party, which is how Sony Bank's clients see the bank, and that's why Sony Bank has been responding to that demand gradually with particular implementations of Web3 or Web3-like, such as this securitized private blockchain, Web3 related offerings, because Japan traditionally, the users are early adopters of emerging technologies. Bitcoin had a big boom early on in Japan until Mt. Gox happened. And there's a lot of action from the regulator to step in and not only support the innovation, but also to protect early users in Japan because they're known for it. In this particular case, what we're seeing is a demand by the users of Sony Bank and Sony Bank Connect to get access to not only internal NFTs, which the bank has partnered with artists to issue, but also to get contact with other more traditional NFTs, such as the Bored Apes, the BAYC, Bored Ape Yacht Club, and other collections that are very popular in the crypto space. So they wanted to have access to a trusted party, which the bank is. So let's see what the bank's going to bring for DeFi. That's where the big game changer will be. In the third drop, we're going to cover something that is promising in the opinion of this very podcast. The Bank of England and the BIS announced the results of a proof of concept of a regulatory supervisory tool called Pyxtrial. Pyxtrial is used to monitor the assets backing stablecoins, and it allows a supervisor to get a view across liabilities between multiple coins and different blockchains in all the corresponding reserves. And in this first trial, they covered Tether stablecoins, USDC, Binance USD, True USD, and Pax Dollar. If you follow the show for some time now, you know that our theory is that mass adoption comes with three things, one of them being regulatory integration, and on-chain oversight has been a topic of discussion in the show various times. And every time I have an opportunity to bring this up, I will, because I do believe that regulatory integration is not just issuing rules and regulations, is participating on the blockchain with the rest of the market. yes, it is a new paradigm that regulators will have to come to terms with. And although the BIS and the Bank of England have been doing other things that I am not exactly supportive of, this seems to be very interesting in a very interesting direction. This tool doesn't use the back office of the issuers as you would think. Banks do that all the time when it comes to regulatory reporting. Is the back office of the bank that will provide the regulators with the corresponding data in particular standardized formats. In this particular instance, the supervisors have access to the same pool of data that is public for everyone to see. And the tool, what Pyxtrial does, it's that it standardizes that data, pulls that into a centralized database for the corresponding regulator, and allows the regulator to have a comprehensive view of the liabilities of the corresponding stablecoins that they're trying to regulate. This comes with particular challenges because there is no regulation that says what is the frequency in which the issuers have to provide the data. There is no particular standard in how that data needs to be provided, and when. So just an example, Tether publishes a 3-month between a 3 months period and 1 month in arrears, and Circle provides a monthly audited report with a month in arrears. So there is no particular standard, and there's obviously a need for an industry to be able to be comparable among its participants. It needs some form of standard to take place, and this is a first foray into that direction. Obviously, there is a lot to come after this pilot, but it is for the first time, I think, a point of a regulator being more present on chain that makes me a little bit more confident that we're converging into the right space. Pyxtrial still doesn't do one thing that is very important for stablecoins, which is valuing their reserves. So we all talked about proof of reserves and proof of liabilities in the past. Right now, this just gets the data out of the blockchain and publishes in a standardized format. There will be other stages in this particular exercise, such as assessing not only the valuation, but also the quality of the assets that are supporting the PAG, the jurisdictions in which these assets are supporting the PAG. And obviously, if you're cross-chain, there are other technical considerations that need to take place for this to become the standard. But nonetheless, in my opinion, this is a step in the right direction, which will only be exacerbated as more and more businesses come on chain and more liquidity gets required by RWAs and other forms of new decentralized finance. And in a week packed full of news, here's more. Brazilian Volleyball Confederation releases a new set of digital collectibles running on NFTs for celebration of the Olympics in Paris 2024. The Father's Day at Jaú Shopping in Brazil will have a celebration NFT using Hathor network with all of the resources raised targeting the hospital Amaral Carvalho in the city. Jingdong Coinlink Technology Hong Kong Limited is the name of the subsidiary of JD Technology Group that announced its plans to issue a one-to-one pegged stablecoin linked to the Hong Kong dollar in the regulatory regime in the country. California's DMV digitized 42 million car titles using Avalanche's permissioned blockchain after a couple of years of pilots with a Tezos network. The European Central Bank released a paper that explores the unattractiveness of stablecoin deposits for banks, meaning banks accepting deposits from stablecoin issuers. And there's a new episode of Unshielded, the podcast by the Midnight team, where you have yours truly talking about Midnight's upcoming roadmap until mainnet. Catch us online. We're on Instagram at BlockDrops Podcast, on Twitter at BlockDrops Pod or 0x Mauricio. We're on Lens at blockdrops.lens. We have a newsletter on LinkedIn. Write to us at blockdropspodcast@gmail.com, and you can listen to the BlockDrops podcast at Spotify, iColab, Faberbun Tech, and all of the other major streaming platforms. Yay! Shoutouts today to the people who share the links you will find in the episode notes: Gustavo Cunha, Aline Fernandes, Bruno Schmid, Paul Brody, Mike Lin, and Anthony Day. Don't forget to leave the ratings on your favorite player. This is all for today. Stay rare, stay weird. LFG.